Welcome to episode 5. Today I'm going to be talking to Vanessa Hines, and she is a civil engineer. Vanessa, can you tell me what a civil engineer does?
Of course. A civil engineer is someone who works on the site of a project, so anything that would reside outside of a building. So we would work on the parking lot, sidewalks, access, things like that. We coordinate utilities and services to the building.
So what was your favorite part about working on Bridge Plaza?
Well, I think that my favorite part was really getting to work with all of the different designers on this project. You know, the architect, the land surveyor. We coordinated with the city a lot, and so it was really fun to get to work with everybody to pull it all together so that everything met everybody's needs.
So you said coordinate with the city. What exactly does that follow?
Well, when we coordinate with the city, what we do is we look at what the city's zoning ordinance is, and we have to meet all of the requirements that they outline in that ordinance. We look at things like parking and building floor area. The city also had a stake in this project in terms of the parking lot. The city provided some funding for it, and so we had to meet the city's needs for providing the correct number of parking stalls.
So Vanessa, I'm thinking about being an architect in the future. How does a civil engineer work with an architect?
Well, we work really closely with them on a project like this. We look at the piece of property that the building is going to go on, and I work with the architect to determine what is the best place for the building to sit on that piece of property. And then we talk about things like doors and access to that building. So we have to talk about how cars are going to access the site, and then also how pedestrians get from, say, the parking lot or the sidewalk into the building. And so we have to make sure that everything works together so that they meet all of their requirements and that I meet mine.
So you talked about utilities and services before. What exactly is that?
So every building, obviously, it needs to have water and sanitary services so that you can run water in the faucets and you can flush toilets and that sort of thing. And so we look at what is existing in the streets and how we can tie into the building for the proper drainage. We also look at stormwater management, and stormwater management is a big part of my job to make sure that we don't create any flooding issues for the building. So you'll see catch basins, which are grates in the ground that collect water and take it to another location.
So how do you know exactly where to put the certain entries or the utilities to make sure everything works?
That's another thing that we really coordinate with the architect. So the architect kind of has a vision for the building, and so they identify where they want the door, and then my responsibility is to provide a way for maybe a person walking on the site to get there. We look at what path they would take, and maybe if they were disabled, how would they get there? And we have to make sure that they have a safe way to get from, say, the street or a parking stall to the front door of the building. And we also have to look at how cars get to the building. And so we look at how a vehicle would navigate the site. Plum is not as busy of a street as Riverfront. There is a driveway on Riverfront as well, but we have to be careful about making sure that those driveways aren't too close together, or they are spaced appropriately from the intersection to make sure that all of the drivers are safe as well.
Well, thank you, Vanessa, for meeting me today.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for watching episode 5. Stay tuned for episode 6, where I'll take you on a surprise tour.